This is what we have discussed yesterday at the end of the session. Standard BADI with what? Filter dependent. What is the transaction code? XD01. And what is the BADI? Customer underscore add underscore data underscore what? CS. So if I go to SC18, what is the BADI name? Customer underscore add underscore data underscore CS is a BADI name. And this BADI we have seen it is what? Multiple use BADI. Okay, this is multiple use BADI. Is it multiple use or single use? Yeah, multiple use BADI, and it is filter dependent. What is the filter type here? Cust underscore SCGR. Cust underscore STGR is a filter name. Cust underscore SCGR stands for what? Customer screen group. If you see the properties of this, right? If I double click on this, this cust underscore screen group is basically a data element with character of what? 2. A screen group it seems. Customer screen group. Right. What is the other information here? Yesterday we have read the documentation. From the documentation, it is understood that there are two prerequisites. What is the prerequisite here? We have to define the screen group in customization of what? Customer master. Then we have to implement the method what? Check add-on active of the BADI customer add data. So if you read the documentation, right, in SC18, if I open through enhancement spot, we are able to locate the documentation. If I directly open the BADI, I'm able to open the BADI because it is a classical BADI which got migrated to what? Enhancement spot. So if I open this, if you read the documentation, yeah, what are the prerequisites here? In customization of customer master, under transfer customer master data fields, you have prepared the modification free enhancement of the customer record so that you have defined a screen group with a name and have labeled the tab pages. So this BADI we can use for implementing what? Screen enhancement. Screen enhancement is what? For plugging what? Additional fields. And from the documentation it is understood that those additional fields will be available in the form of tab pages. Whenever we click on a tab page, might be a subscreen will be displayed. In that subscreen, we can show the additional fields. What is the second prerequisite? We have to implement the method check add-on active of the BADI what? Customer underscore add underscore data. So that's what I documented here. There are two requirements, prerequisites. We need to define the screen group and we need to implement the method what? Check add-on active of the BADI customer underscore add underscore data. Okay, so let us first implement this prerequisite. We have to define what? Screen group in customization of what? Customer master. Okay, so customization means the customization settings will be done by the functional consultant by using the transaction code SPRO. So the first prerequisite is we need to define the screen group in customization of what? Customer master. So let me go to that. So this is the BADI. First, whenever you want to implement this BADI, we have to provide the filter value. Na? What is the filter type here? Cust underscore screen group. So I need to keep the filter values ready. Okay, and that filter value, it seems that we have to create that in what? Customization of what? Customer master. That's what the prerequisite is saying. Right. So let me go to SPRO. In SPRO T code, we need to create that particular screen group. Right. So I'll go to SPRO. Right. So in SPRO T code, I'll click on the button what? SAP Reference Implementation Guide IMG. Yeah, you'll have what different path here. So customer master means related to what SD model. So SD consultant will know the exact path where we can do the customization of what customer master. So we have to take the help of what functional consultant and create this particular customization setting, right? So here I have to go to logistics general, right? Under logistics general, under business partner, let's under logistics general, under business partner, we have customers and vendors here. Under customers, under control, what is this here? Adoption of customers' own master data fields. Adoption of customers' own master data fields. If I expand this, we have what some buttons here. Prepare a modification free enhancement of customer master record. So if you see the documentation once again, what is the first prerequisite in customization for a customer master? Under transfer customer master data fields, you have prepared the modification free enhancement. You have prepared the modification free enhancement of the customer record so that you have defined a screen group with a name and have labeled the tab pages. Okay, you have prepared the modification free enhancement in the customer master record. So here, what is the path here? Those who are joined late. First, you have to create the screen group. Where you have to create the screen group? In customization of customer master. So I'll go to SPROT code. This is the transaction code generally used by the functional consultants, SD consultant, MM consultant, FISO consultant to do all the configuration setting. They'll use this particular transaction code. So I'll go to SPRO, click on the button SAP reference IMG. Under what? Logistics General, under business partners. So this customer, vendor, all are called as what? Business partners. Okay, under business partner, under customers, under control, under adoption of customers' own master data fields. Yeah, prepare modification free enhancement of customer master record. So we need to click on this execute button and create that particular screen group. Before I click on this execute button, let me read the documentation. Left hand side, we have the documentation related to this configuration. I'll just click on this. Yeah, prepare modification free enhancement of customer master record. You can enhance the master data of your customers and vendors in order to add what additional information. To do this, you develop subscreens to which you add the required fields. You can access your subscreens. You can access your subscreens in the master records of the business partner via integrated buttons. There, your screens are integrated on a tab page. You can assign up to 32 tab pages slash subscreens to each button. So they'll appear in the form of what tab pages it seems. We can add up to what 32 tab pages. So the number of subscreens depends upon what number of tab pages. Okay, right. So in the activities, in the following, business partner indicates customer and what vendor. Choose edit screen group, business partner. You define a 2-digit alphanumeric key. Choose edit screen group and define a 2-digit alphanumeric key and a name for each of the required screen groups. Define a 2-digit alphanumeric key and a name 2-digit alphanumeric key and a name for each of the required screen groups. The name of the screen group appears later in the form of a push button. The name of the screen group appears later in the form of a push button on the initial screen of your business partner master data. To use your enhancement, that is, to make the button visible, activate it with the BADI check add-on active. So we have seen the second prerequisite. Na? We have to implement the method what? Check add-on active of which BADI? Customer add data. Okay, so choose name tab page and for each screen group enter the data required for the tab page. So we have to what? Create the screen group. So let us create the screen group. So I read the documentation here, right? I'll click on the execute button. So when I click on the execute button, table is cross client. Means what are the configuration I'm going to do now? That will go, that setting will be captured in a table, and that table is a client that table is a client independent table. Cross client means client independent, which doesn't have MNDT field, right? So table is cross client. Continue, right? So you can see here already there are screen groups available here. Okay, these are all the standard screen groups given by SAP. What is our agenda? We need to create what? Our own what? Screen group. And by reading the documentation, we understood that it is asking us to create 2-digit alphanumeric key screen group. So I'll click on what? New entries. Here I have to provide the screen group name. I'll give the screen group name as Z1. Any name you can give. I'll give the description as something something Gensoft additional data. Okay, I'll just give some description. It seems that this description will appear later on in the form of a push button. From the documentation, we understood that whatever the description you are providing for the screen group, it will appear as a button. And on that button, what is the caption? This is the caption it will display. Gensoft additional data. Let me save it. Yeah, it is asking for the request. I can go for existing request, or I can go for creating a new request. I'll click on create request. Let me give a description as something 17th June 2022. Some description I'll give. Can save it. A request got generated. Continue. Yeah. So the screen group is created, and from the documentation we understood that we have to define the screen group and we have to name the tab pages, so that you have defined a screen group with a name and have labeled the tab pages. So it is by reading the documentation just now we understood that we can define up to 32 tab pages. We can define up to 32 tab pages. So what I'll do is I'll choose this screen group which I have created. Left hand side in the tree, we have labeled tab pages. I'll double click on this labeled tab pages. Right. So number. Okay, new entries. I'll click on the new entries. This is all the table maintenance. I'll click on new entries. It is asking the number. Might be the subscreen number. Understood? Subscreen number. I'll give the subscreen number as something 200. Function code. Function code might be, this is nothing but the function code of the tab buttons. Every tab will have a function code. So I'll give the function code as something FC1. Description. I'll give the description as something competitor data. I want to add one more icon. If you want to give the icon, you can give the icon, or else you can ignore. I want to construct one more tab. So I'll give the subscreen number as 201. I'll give the function code as FC2. I'll give the description as something test data or sample data, some description I'm giving. Let's see how it appears. So what I did here, I defined a screen group, and for that screen group, I have labeled the tab pages by proposing the subscreen numbers and the function codes for each of the tab buttons. Let me save it. Yeah, it is saved. So like this, how many tab pages I can construct? It seems 32. It seems okay. Right. So I just saved it. Done. So we are done with the first prerequisite. By reading the documentation, we understood that we have the requirement. So we have created that particular screen group Z1. Done. What is the second step here? We have to implement the method check add-on active of which BADI? Customer or data. So we already know how to implement the standard BADIs. Let me implement this. So I'll go to what? SE19. SE19. Okay, I'll choose the classic BADI. What is the BADI name? Customer underscore add underscore data, right? Customer underscore add underscore data. I can implement the BADI directly like this, or it got migrated to what? Enhancement spot. I can choose new BADI. I can provide the enhancement spot. So which BADI you have to implement here? Customer add data. Okay, so this is the BADI, customer underscore add underscore data. I'm able to open it individually, and this BADI, if you see here, it is migrated to which enhancement spot? Customer add data. The enhancement spot name is also what? Same. So even if you go from the enhancement spot also, you'll have that particular BADI. So inside this enhancement spot, we have the BADI definition. So I can implement in either of the way. In whatever way you want to implement, you can implement. I can implement through enhancement spot or directly the BADI. In either of the cases, the BADI implementations has to be stored in what? Enhancement implementation. So I'll choose customer data. I'll click on create implementation. I'll give the implementation name. Let me give the name as something zcust, or let me give the name as something z uh, z customer underscore impl1. I'll give some name. I gave it as something z customer underscore impl1. Continue. Yeah. Implementation short text. I'll provide some description. Right. In the interface, what is the method we need to implement? Check add-on active. Yeah, this is the method I need to implement. Check add-on active. How do I know that I have to implement this method? Only by reading the documentation. Understood? So in case of enhancements, reading and analyzing the documentation is the most important thing. Right. So let me implement this check add-on active method. I'll double click on this. Bad implementation was still. Do you want to save? Yes. I'll save it in the local object. Yeah, it is saying that implementation will be migrated. I have to what? Select or create the enhancement implementation. So I can choose what? Existing enhancement implementations, or I can go for what? New enhancement implementation. Anything is fine. So I'll go for new enhancement implementation. I'll give it as something ZEIMPL1 something. I'll provide the description. Enhancement implementation 1. What is the enhancement implementation name? ZEIMPL1. Continue. Yeah, let us save this enhancement implementation in the local object. Right, the implementation is what? Created. Enhancement implementation is created. For this enhancement implementation, I'll continue. Choose enhancement will continue. Yeah, what is the method? Check add-on active. What is the logic I have tried here? We don't know. Okay, what is the documentation as said here? We have to, you have activated the processing of your own data with the method check add-on active. So they're talking about some activation. So I don't know what logic I have to implement. So we have to analyze the signature of this method. We need to analyze what are the parameters. Based on that, you'll get an idea what to do. So if you see here, it has got one parameter here. What is this? One importing parameter I underscore screen group type so and so. So it is carrying the screen group. There is one changing parameter e underscore add on active type of flag. Flag is like indicator. X when add on is a German description is there. So by looking at the parameters, it is understood that this method gets executed for every screen group. For our screen group also it gets executed. So what is the logic I'll write here? If I underscore screen underscore group, the first parameter, if I underscore screen underscore group equal to Z1, that is our screen group, I'll say E underscore add on active equal to what? X. For our screen group, we are setting that second parameter to what? X. It is a changing parameter which will act as both import and export. Save, check for the syntax error, activate this. Done. It is activated. I'll put the breakpoint. I want to understand at what stage this method is called. So I'll put the breakpoint here. Done. Go back. Better activate the implementation class. Double click on the implementation class and activate. It is activated. Go back. Activate your BADI implementation. BADI implementation has been activated. So we have done two things so far. One is we have created the screen group. Second one is what? We implemented the BADI customer data. As part of that implementation, we implemented the method check add-on active. Right. So where we are now, by reading the documentation, we understood there are two prerequisites. We have ensured that those prerequisites are implemented. Done. Next, we have to implement the other BADI, main BADI. What is that? Customer underscore add underscore data underscore CS. We have to implement that particular BADI. I have not yet implemented. Let me just test our T code and check when that method is getting executed. So I'll run the T code what xd01. The moment I run the T code, good. The moment I run the T code, that BADI got triggered. And what is the method which is getting called check add-on active? If you remembered, in the same BADI earlier we have implemented two methods. One is check all data, another is preset values company code. Check all data method, it is getting executed when you click on what save button. Preset values company code method getting executed when you click on the company code button on the application toolbar. Now here this check add-on active method is getting executed the moment you run the T code. Right. So if you see the debugging here, if you see a screen group, what is the screen group currently? Yes, we have seen in that customization there are many screen groups available now. So what is the meaning? This method is getting executed for all the screen groups. So anyhow, if condition not satisfied, I'll say F8. What is the next one? BE, it seems not satisfied. CM not satisfied. D1 not satisfied. D2, FG, IS, O0, O1, PS, Z1. Yes, it is satisfied now. So if you see this parameter E underscore, if condition is satisfied now, it will enter the if block. I'll say F5. Yes, it is going inside the if block. It will set that parameter to what X. That's it. I'll say F8. Done. So what is the analysis here? that method is getting executed the moment you start running the T code, right? So now further you can see if I go inside, somewhere you'll have that, good, observe here, observe. On the application toolbar, you got that button, na? What is that? Gensoft additional data. For the screen group, I gave some description, na? From the documentation also we understood that description will appear later on in the form of what? Button, in the form of button. That's what it is showing here. Is it clear? It is appearing on the application toolbar. Why it is appearing? Because you have activated that check add-on active. Na? Our enhancement is what? Activated. Because of that method, the button is visible here. Okay. Or else just defining the screen group, the button will not appear here. We have to implement that BADI also. So now if I click on this, first of all, let me give the mandatory parameters. I'll click on this button. When I click on this button, good. Observe here. What happened here? I got two tab buttons, computed data and sample data. I created two tab pages. No? For the first tab page, I gave the title as description as computed data. Second one, I gave out sample data. And for this tab button, this is basically a tab strip control. For these tab buttons, I should associate the subscreens. So for this computed data, I have to attach one subscreen. For sample data, I have to attach one more subscreen. What are the subscreen numbers I proposed in that screen group creation? 200 and what? 201. Yeah, hope this is clear so far. Any questions? Okay. So that button is visible and that button is associated with the two tab buttons. Now the next requirement is what? We have to, yeah, it is calling that method once again. We have to implement the other BADI. What is the other BADI? Customer underscore add underscore data underscore what? CS. Customer underscore add underscore data underscore CS. So let me try to read the documentation of that. Customer underscore add underscore data underscore CS. If I display, if I go to documentation, we are done with the prerequisite. And yeah, what is saying here? You can use the BADI. Yeah, you can see here. You can use the BADI customer at data CS to integrate your own subscreens. Okay, so this BADI also will contain some interface. Na? That interface contains what? Methods. If you go to interface, it has got what? An interface. In that interface, we have many methods. By reading the documentation, it is not telling me anything like which method you have to implement. It is not telling that. So we have to do the R&D to implement the appropriate method. How do we do means? You have to go through the description, you have to go through the signature of each method, if possible read the documentation of each and every method. Understood? So if I double click on the interface, in this interface I'll put the cursor on this method. I'll choose go to documentation to component. Yeah, it is giving some documentation related to which method? Set underscore data, short text, data transfer. With this method, the current data from the standard dialog is made available. Like that, we have to read the documentation. Okay, so if you see here, if you see this is data transfer, it seems. This is transfer data, it seems. Like this, if you read the documentation, you can see one of the method here, determine screen for tabs. Just now we have seen, we got the two tab buttons. No? For those tab buttons, I require what? Subscreens. No? So by looking at this description, we understood this is relevant for a requirement. Determine screen for tabs. I'll do one thing. I'll put the cursor here. Let me check any further documentation available. I'll choose go to documentation to component. What is saying here? Determine screen for the tabs. With this method, you transfer your subscreen to the standard. It should then appear on a tab page. Good. So this is the appropriate method. Na? The method has the following importing parameter. One is FLT underscore value, which is going to carry the screen group, Another parameter is what? I underscore taxi underscore F code, import parameter, function code of the tab page. Good. In our case, what is the function code? FC1 and FC2. The method has the following changing parameters. E underscore screen, number of subscreen, E underscore program that the subscreen belongs. We are going to design the subscreen in a program. Na? That program we have to give it here. Then another parameter is what? E underscore header layout, which header data should be displayed. If you don't set anything, it is general itself. B means company code, V means sales area. Okay. Do not make any changes to the database within the method. Do not set any commits and do not execute the commit work statement within the method. The method is called if a user has selected a tab page, therefore indicating that he now wants to see the relevant data. Okay. Yeah. You can see in parameters E underscore screen and E underscore program, you communicate the program names and screen number of the desired subscreen to the standard. The relevant screen is then called using call subscreen and is made available. So already when I discussed screen enhancement 1 week back in customer exit, internally what is the syntax it will follow? Call customer subscreen number including program name followed by what? Subscreen number. Here also it seems that SAP is going to internally call this particular statement, use this statement to call the subscreens. Okay. So what I have to do is, let us implement this method get taxi F screen. So how do we implement? SC19. So I'll go to SC19. I'll directly implement the BADI, create implementation. I'll give the implementation name as something Z customer underscore CS underscore IMPL1. Some name I'm proposing. Continue. Provide the implementation short text. Okay. Done. I'll go to what? Interface. What is the method I need to implement? Get taxi screen. Let me double click on this. I'm trying to implement the method get taxi screen. Good. You can see here, it is asking us to specify the filter value. This BADI is a filter dependent. So earlier, when we created our custom BADI with filter, it is our wish whether you want to provide the filter values in the implementations or not. That is in case of Kernel-BAdI. This is a classic BADI which got migrated. Na? So it seems that it is mandatory to specify the filter value so that this implementation gets executed for that particular filter. So already, what is the filter type? Screen group. Na? We have created one screen group Z1, right? So where to provide the filter value? I think somewhere in the properties tab. Yeah, you can see bottom. Here we have to provide the filter value. Understood? Insert row. Yeah, screen group. If I click on this, F4, yeah, it is showing all the screen groups. I want this implementation to be executed for our screen group. Na? What is our screen group? Z1. Na? So provide the screen group. Understood? Done. Let me save it once. Right? Now I can continue and it is asking us to select or create the enhancement implementation. So I'll say create. I'll propose the name of the implementation. I'll say ZEIMPL2. I'll say. Okay. Provide the short text, or I'll say Z CS IMPL1. Provide some description. Enhancement implementation got created. Choose your enhancement implementation. Continue. Yeah. Implementation is saved. Which method you want to implement now? Get access screen. Double click on this. Yeah, get access. Write the relevant logic. So you can see there is one importing parameter, what? Filter value. Filter value. Understood? FLT underscore value. It is importing parameter. Na? So I'll do one thing. I can write the logic like this. If FLT underscore value equal to Z1, if it is equal to Z1, then I'll write the required logic. What is that? I underscore is another importing parameter. I underscore taxi F code. So I'll say case I underscore taxi underscore what? F code. What are the function codes I give? FC1. When FC1 and what? When FC2. Do so and so end case. So when FC1 means what I'll do? I have to attach the first subscreen 200. Na? 200. So you can see there is a changing parameter e underscore screen type what? Dwarner screen number. So I'll say e underscore screen equal to 200 and e underscore program equal to. I have to give the program name where the subscreen we are going to create. We have not yet created that program, but you have to give that particular program name. I'll give the program name as something Z customer program. Z custom underscore program underscore subscreens. This is the program I am going to create. Done. And then another parameter e underscore header screen layout. It has got B as value, V as value. Space is what general. We have seen the documentation. Space indicates what general data. Let it be general only. I will not set anything. Okay, done. Repeat this logic for the second function code, for the second tab button also. E underscore screen equal to, what is that? 201, 201. Done. So this is the program I need to create. What is that? Z custom program underscore subscreens. Z customer program underscore subscreens. Okay, let me save it. Check for the syntax error. Activate this. Done. It is activated. I'm interested to check when this method is getting called. I'll put the breakpoint here. Done. Go back. Activate your implementation class. Implementation class is activated. Activate your BADI implementation. Yeah, it is activated. Done. Okay, so we have done three things. We created the screen group in customization of customer master. Then the second step is what? We implemented the method check add-on active of the BADI customer add data. Third step is we implemented the method get access screen of the BADI customer add data CS. So I'll run the T code XD01. XD01. Yeah. It is calling that initial method check add-on active. I'll say F8. It is getting called for all the screen groups. I'll say F8. I'm saying F8. It is getting called for all the screen groups. Right? Done. Okay, sold to party R30 CRM. I'll go inside. I'll provide some text here. Yeah, I'll click on what? Gensoft additional data button on the application toolbar. Good. Okay, so it is calling that. What is the FLT value here? Z1. Done. If it is Z1, what is the function code it is taking by default? FC1. The first tab is active by default. Na? The first tab is active by default. So function code is FC1. Done. It has to attach which subscreen? 200 subscreen, and it will check for the 200 subscreen which program in the given program. Z custom program underscore subscreens. But this program we have not yet designed. So I'll say F8. Good. The program is getting terminated. What is the error I got? Load program not found. The program Z cust program underscore subscreens not found. The program is not found. That's why I got the runtime error. So what I'll do here, let me create that particular program. Okay, already we know how to design the subscreens in module pool. Na? So I'll go to SC80, right? From the drop down, I'll choose program, right? What is the program name I should give? Zcust program underscore what? Subscreens underscore subscreens. I'll press enter. Yeah, program does not exist. Do you want to create the object? Yes. I'll create this program with the top include program. Continue. I'll propose the name of the top include program as something zcust top. Continue. What is the type of program? Module pull. Save it. I'll save it in the local object. Let me activate the program. Right click on the program, activate it. So what I have done so far, I created the program, but in that program, I have not created any subscreen. Am I clear? I have not created any subscreen. Just the program is created. Let us run the T code now. Again, I'll run the T code XD01. Yeah, since I get a breakpoint, it is stopping. I'll say F8. Yeah, I got it. Continue. I'll click. Okay, let me provide. Click on this button. Done. Okay, so I'll say F8. This time also the program got terminated. I got a different error now. What is that? Dynpro not found. Dynpro means screen. Screen not found. What is the short text? Screen does not exist. Make clear. Screen does not exist, it seems. So what you have to do now? I need to create the screen in that program. Na? So let me create. So I'll go to SC80. Yeah, in this program, I'll try to create a screen. We are expected to know how to design the subscreens. Right click on the program, create what? Screen. Understood? Right click on the program, create the screen. I'll give the screen number as 200. Continue. Okay, I'll provide some description. What is the screen type you have to choose? Subscreen. Screen, because inside the tab pages, we can associate only the subscreen. Na? Let me do this. I'll go to SC80. Yeah, on the screen 200. What is the screen type I'm choosing? Screen type is what? Normal screen I have chosen. Let me design the layout for the screen. I'll click on the layout button. Right. So as of now, I'll just give some text here. I'll double click on this. I'll give the name of the text field as TF1. I'll give the text as something computator data. Let me save it. Check for the syntax error. Done. This is screen 200. Let me design another screen. Right click on this. I'll say create. I'll give the screen number as 201. Okay. I'll provide some description. This screen type, I'll give it as subscreen. 200 screen type, I give it as normal. Remember, I'll go to layout. I'll give some text field here also. But let me save it. So 200 is flagged as normal screen. 201 is flagged as subscreen. Let me right click on the program and activate. Yeah, it is. User is currently editing. So I need to come out of this and activate. Go back. Right click on the program and activate. Right, successfully activated. This is screen 200 is active. 201 is also active. Done. Right. So the program is available now. Even the screen is available. But the screen 200 screen type is what? Normal. So I'll go to XD01 again. We'll go to desktop 3, F8. Sold to party R3 to CRM, continue. I'll click on this button, Gensoft additional data on the application toolbar. Yeah, F8. Again, it got terminated. A different error I got. What is that? Dyne Pro wrong screen type. Wrong screen type. The screen has either been defined incorrectly or is being used incorrectly. Attribute screen type with the characteristics normal screen or subscreen determines how the screen is used. This error occurs if a normal screen is used as a subscreen or vice versa. So understood the problem? So I'll go back to SC80. What I have to do here for the screen 200, I'll open it in change mode. I'll go to attributes. I'll make this as what? Subscreen. Done. Save it. Check for the syntax error. Activate this. So I change it to what? Subscreen. Let me right click on the program and activate the whole program once again. Run the T code. XD01. Right. So if I say F8, I'll click on this. Right. I'll say F8. Good. What happened here? I got the subscreen with the text computer data. If I click on this, yeah, again it is calling that. This time filter value is Z1 only. What is the function code? FC2, I think. FC2, it will attach what? 201. F8. Yes, I got the sample data. So we are able to what? Associate the subscreens. This subscreens should have what? The subscreen should hold what? The additional fields. So in order to show the additional fields now, what you have to do? Go to that KN1 table, the base table, and add the additional fields. So already we know how to enhance the standard tables, right? So if you go to SC11, what is the table KN1? First, if you want to add the fields, check for customer include. In the table KN1, I'll search for what? Customer include, CA underscore. Customer include always starts with CA underscore. Yeah, I don't have any customer include. So I should go for what? Append structure. Let me check whether already has appended or not. Paged on. I might have done it for earlier batches. No, not there. So I'll append structure. Right. I'll click on what? Create append. I'll give the append name as something Z computator. I'll take the same fields. Z computator. Done. Computator fields. What is the naming convention you have to follow? ZZ. ZZ computator name. I'll give the data element as Z computator name. Yes. Next. ZZ computator address. Types. ZZ computator address. Done. Provide the enhancement category. Extras enhancement category. So you add what are the fields you want. You add what are the fields you want. Okay, done. Save it. Check for the syntax error. Activate this. So first we created the screen group in customization of customer master using the T code what? SPRO. Then we implemented the BADI what? Check add-on active of the BADI what? Customer data. Then what are the implementation steps we followed here? What is the next step we have done? We implement the method what? What is that method? Get underscore taxi underscore screen. Get taxi screen of which body? Of the body what? Customer underscore add underscore data underscore what? CS. CS. Then so as part of this implementation, what you have to do? We have to associate the subscreens and what? Subscreen programs for each of the what? Tab buttons. For each of the tab buttons. What is the fourth step you have to do? Add the additional fields in the base table. What is the base table here? KNA1. KNA1. Then the next step is what after this? What is the next step here? The next step is we need to design the create the subscreen program with the what required subscreens. Create the subscreen program with the required subscreen and design the layout. Design the layout for the subscreens by placing what? By placing what? Additional fields. By placing the additional fields. So that is what we have done so far. So if you go back to KNM table, let me check whether it is appended or not. What is the append structure I created? Z competitor, right? Yeah, it is added. Partly active, not active. So let me reactivate once again. User is currently editing. Okay. So if you see here in XK01T code, we have one BADI, similar kind of BADIs. So if you go to SC93, what is the T code? XK01, create vendor. If I display, what is the program name? SAP MF02K. For this program, what is the package? Package what? WLIF. Right? So now I'll go to SC84 under enhancements, under business add-ins, definitions. What is the package? WLIF. When I execute, yeah, I can see here we have some baddies. Vendor add data, CS, vendor add data CS. So you have to implement same thing, vendor add data as well as vendor add data CS. If you see the documentation of that vendor add data CS, if you go to SC18, what is the BADI name? It is also a classical BADI which got migrated. Vendor underscore add underscore data underscore CS. If I display, yeah, same thing. It is also what? Filter dependent. What is this here? Screen group. Vend underscore SCGR. Here also we have to create the screen group in what? SPROT code. SPROT code. So if you see this here you have to same methods. Get axis screen. Same kind of logic. Okay, so in SPRO, what you have to do here? We have to, if you go to SAP reference IMG, under what? Logistics General, right? Under business partners, right? Under what? Customers, under customers only, under control, if I scroll down, yeah, adoption of what? Customers own master data fields. Yeah, you can see preparation of what? Not under customers. Do you not under suppliers? Under suppliers. In older version, it will show it as vendors. Here it is showing it as suppliers. So for XG01, I went inside this. For XK01, you have to go inside this. In your system, if it is the ECC version, it will show it as vendors. This is S4 HANA system. it is showing it as suppliers. So if I expand this, under suppliers, under what? Control, under adoption of what? Customers own master data fields. Same thing. Prepare modification free enhancement. Click on this, create the screen group, and then rest of the process is what? Same. So try to do the same thing as it is. What you have done it for what? XD 0. It is still activating.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Rohit.
Sir, in my system, my server, when I run the XD01, there will be runtime error occur.
Might be there is some issue. Someone has done the enhancements. They have not done it properly. So what you are doing is see that runtime error. What is the issue? Okay, and go to KNM table and check whether it is showing it as active or inactive. Okay, and in that
Uh,
KNM table, in that XD01 T code, we have some baddies, no? Okay,
yes.
so for that baddies, you check any implementations are available. Already we know how to check the implementations, no? Right? So if you go to SC18, suppose for the enhancement spot customer underscore what? Add underscore data, right? If I display, this enhancement spot has got a baddie. This baddie, if I double click on implementations, it will show you the implementations here. Okay, so you check any Z implementation is there. Understood? So what you do is you open that Z implementations and deactivate them. We
Okay.
know how to activate and deactivate, na? So like that,
Okay. Yes. Yes.
okay, like that, open the implementations, open the Z implementations for all the baddies in the transaction and try to deactivate them. Okay, not only
Okay.
baddies, also check for customer exits. We have the customer exit SAP MF02D. Na? So check whether that customer exit is already implemented in a project. You try to implement. If it is already implemented, you will get an error saying that it is already assigned to so and so project. Na? Go to that project and deactivate that project also. So like that, you deactivate all the implementations. And then what you do, come to the KNM table, check whether the KNM table is active or inactive. If you go to KNM table here in this server, yeah, you can see it is showing it as what active. So in your system, you check whether it is active or inactive. First, try to deactivate all the bad implementations and all the customer exit implementations and run the T code. Still, if you get the error, open the table KNM, check whether any additional fields are there which are not activated. Just like just now in my case also it is showing it as partly active now. So you try to activate them. Try to activate that, double click on that append structure and try to activate. After activating, run the T code. Then it will be a, what result.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay.
Means some participants, okay, it's a vendor system, so they might have done the enhancement, they got stuck up somewhere, they left it there only. So in that cases, the T codes will give you the runtime error. Let me open the table KN1. Let me check whether that competitor structure is active or not. If it is not active, I cannot add the fields on the screen. Z competitor, it is active. Understood? It got activated. So make sure that in your case also all these append structures, Z append structures are what active. Otherwise, you'll get the runtime errors. Okay. First, you deactivate all the implementations which someone might have done. Then make sure that the table is in what active state. Now let me design the program. So I'll go back to SC80. What is my subscreen program? Z cus program underscore subscreens, right? So if I open this 200 subscreen, In this 200 subscreen only, I'll open it in change mode. Here only I need to add the additional fields. I'll go to layout. Additional fields are placed in what? The Kernel table in the form of append structure. Go to, already we are expected to know how to design the subscreen, right? So I'll choose go to secondary window, dictionary program fields. What is the table name? Kernel. Kernel, enter. It is showing all the fields. What are your additional fields? Scroll down. Where is it? Yeah, competitor name and competitor. I'll just choose this to continue. I'll place it here. Right. So what is the name of this field? Kn1 hyphen ZZ competitor name. Kn1 hyphen ZZ competitor. Save it. Check for the syntax. Come back and activate the flow logic. Right. So I have not written any logic to what? Capture the data. Sometimes SAP itself will do it. If SAP is not doing, we have to implement that PA kind of in earlier example in MC, what is that T code? MP01, right? We are able to see the additional fields, but the data is not getting captured by default. So I told that customer exit will have two corresponding function exits, PBO and what PI. PBO is for defaulting, PA is for what? Capturing the data entered in the runtime. Here also, if it is doing automatically, I need not implement any other methods. We implemented only one method here, get axis screen. If it is not doing automatically, I have to implement the other methods. I have activated. Let me run the program. Let me activate the whole program also. Run the T code now. So I'll run the T code XG01 account group. I'll choose what? R3 to CRM. Continue. Right. So I'll give some text here for identification. I'll say Gensoft Technologies something WebDim Pro ABAP. So for easy identification, I gave the name. I'll click on what? Additional data. Right. You can see I am able to see the additional fields. Okay. So I'll just give something. Some data I'll give. Okay. Competitor name and competitor address. I'll save it. In sample data, I don't have any fields. This is my competitor. This is my data. I'll click on what? Save button. I'll click on save button. What is that? I got the message in the studio. What is that? 301725 has been created. What is the customer? 301725 has been created. Why it is showing like that? Yeah. 301725 or 735 is there. There is screen overlapping it. 301725 or 735. Right. So I'll go to SC11 KN1 table. I'll go to contents. What is the customer number? I'm not interested in all the fields. Okay, continue. I'm not interested in all the fields. I'll choose format list, choose fields. I'll deselect. I'll select customer number, land one, name one, and what is that additional fields? ZZ comp name, ZZ competitor address, apply. What is the customer we are seeing? 301725 or 735. This is the customer number I'm giving 301725 execute. Gensoft Technologies, WebDim Prabhap, Siemens and what? Mumbai. Got captured now? Understood? If it is in the earlier example I took in MP01, that is screen enhancements using customer exits, the data is not getting captured automatically. So I implemented the BADI what? Sorry, I implemented the corresponding PBO and what? PA function exit. Here also in BADIs also, if it is not getting captured automatically, you have to do the R&D to implement the further methods. Means in the same BADI, what is that BADI? Customer underscore add underscore data underscore CS, right? I implemented only one method now. What is that? Get taxi screen. You can see there are corresponding methods. What is this? Set data. Might be this is like a PBO. This is like a PA. Implement these methods accordingly. Here I have not done it, but still it is getting saved. No problem. So once it is saved automatically, I need not implement the other methods. If it is not getting saved, then you try to implement the other methods to capture the data into the table. So I told, if you remembered, for PBO, we have to consider import parameter. For PA function exit, you have to consider export parameter. Here also, you check the relevant parameters which is carrying the data and do the implementations. So this is about the screen enhancement of XD01. So if it is a filter dependent BADI, we have to provide the what? Filter value. Okay, so here implement the method check add-on active of the BADI, implement the method, so on. So here what you have to do? Provide what? Filter value. Provide the filter value. That is the screen group. What is the screen group I create in our case? Z1. Na? You have to provide that particular screen group. So I have done it for what? XD01T code. Similar kind of BADI, vendor add data CS is there for XK01. You try to do it for what? XK01T code. So if I run the XK01T code here, in XK01T code, we should know how to use this T code. So if I run that XK01T code, here it is asking some vendor number. I'll give the vendor number. Vendor already existing. So I'll choose something. Specify the account group. So it is asking me to specify the account group. I'll provide the account group uses internal assignment. So if I choose 0001, it is saying that vendor number is internal assignment, means SAP itself will create the vendor. So you try to choose the appropriate account group, and try to create the vendor. So I'll just randomly check. I'll just select one of the vendor here just for demonstration. Enter a number between 1 and what? So and so. So I'll just give something 120, 189. It is going inside. Yeah. Understood. So like that, randomly provide some values. So title. Okay, I'll give some title here, Mr. I'll give the vendor name. I'll give it as something test vendor 1. I'll give the country as what? India. Done. I'll save it. That's it. You are creating Indian vendor. Might be already some validation is there. It is going to that someone might have given the breakpoint in that implementation. Here also we have the BADI what? Vendor at data. What is the method? Check all data. I'll say fit. Yeah, what happened here? Vendor 180 has been what? Created. Vendor 189 has been created. What is the base table for this vendor master? LFA1. LFA1 is the base table. This information you will get it from the functional consultant. LFA1. Here also you add the additional fields. Same thing. LFA1. What is the vendor number? 189. Execute. Account number of the vendor is 1. Test vendor 1. So whatever I have done today for XG01, you try to do it for what? XK01. What are the baddies? Vendor at data CS. That vendor at data CS is also what? Filter dependent BADI. So you create the screen group. Understood? So practice, spend time on the system so that you can put the same objects in the resume. What are the enhancement we are discussing? What are the BAPIs we have discussed? Put the same objects as it is in the resume. Okay, enhancing the customer master or enhancing the vendor master, or we have done that MP01 T code. Like that, we can put the objects. Okay, suppose in this system, I'll run the T code XD01 or XK01. Yeah, here this is S4 system, the screen should be different. Okay, so in any, suppose if I run the T code MM01 working, here, let me come back here. I'll run the T code MM01 here. In this, yeah, it's working. Suppose, as Rohit asked, if you get any runtime error, the only problem would be read that runtime error, analyze the runtime error, check what is the issue. If you are unable to understand that issue, what you have to do in that particular transaction, you check whether any baddies are there, any customer exits are there. Check whether any implementations available for those baddies and customer exits. Try to switch off all those implementations, both for customer exit as well as baddies, and make sure that the base tables are in active status. Sometimes some people might have added the additional fields, they might have not activated properly. So first of all, you deactivate all the enhancements, and then what you have to do, uh, try to activate the tables, or what are the additional fields they have created, you try to delete them. Suppose how do I delete? Suppose in the Kernel table, just now I added some append structure. What is that? Z computator, right? So because of this structure only, I'm getting what? Some runtime error, assume. So I need to delete this structure. How do I delete? Directly here, provide what? Z computator, right? If I display, right, it is opening now. You try to delete this. Try to click on what delete, and understood. Don't delete the standard things. Delete the, but before you delete this append structures or include structures, what you do is you delete the enhancement implementation. Instead of deactivating, better you delete the enhancement implementation, because these additional fields they might have added in those subscreens, so it will not allow you to delete directly here. So check whether any existing enhancement implementations are available, that is BADI implementations. If they are available, instead of deactivating, directly delete them. How do you delete the implementation? Suppose here, if I go to SC18, yeah, for this BADI, customer data CS, or if I go through the enhancement spot, customer data CS, this enhancement spot has got one BADI definition. This BADI definition has got what? Implementations. What is the implementation here? ZECS IMPL1. ZECS IMPL1. Right? If I double click on this, okay, it has opened, right? Open it in change mode, and what? Try to deactivate this, or else directly open this particular BADI implementation. What is that? Z customer underscore CS underscore IMPL1. So go to SC19, right? So in the classic BADI implementation, what is that? Z customer underscore CS IMPL1. I can open in change mode, right? I can deactivate this. So what you do is, even after deactivating, if you're having the errors, better what you do, choose this and click on what? Delete. So if you are getting any, why I'm stressing on this point is, when you're practicing your systems, they are vendor systems. Okay, there will be thousands of people accessing that server. You may get the runtime errors. The runtime errors is because of this enhancement. So you try to what? Delete those enhancements. Carefully delete it. If you delete what are your unnecessary thing, again you'll have other what? Problems. That's the reason. Try to what? Identify that bad implementation. Click on what? Delete. After deleting all the implementations, even for customers, delete the projects directly. First deactivate. After deactivating, you delete that, because sometimes if it is in active status, it may not allow you to delete. So first deactivate and then delete. Then come back to the tables, standard tables. You try to activate those append structures. If any problem in activating the append structures, you delete that particular append structure. It will take some time. It is not so easy. After that, you run the T codes, it will work fine. In my case also, this is also a server vendor system only. I also will get the runtime errors. So what I'll do, I'll delete all the implementations, I'll delete all the dependent structures, then the T codes will work. So do it carefully, right? So I'll stop for today. Chalo. Thanks everyone. We'll meet on Monday.